What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the land of Reckless Logic. Please make sure you guys pop that like button, hit the subscribe button, and please smack that notification bell so do not miss any of my posts from me. Let's get straight into this video. Alrighty, guys, so as you guys can already tell by the title of this video, you already know what we're going to be talking about. First things first, I do want to say I'm glad to be back. Now, I'm just going to say this, y'all. My plans was to cam up, but however, my camera gave me some issues, so we're just gonna muscle through it, and we just gonna this is gonna be kind of an improv type of video. Now, hey, how you doing? I want to say hello to everybody in the chat. How you doing today? Now, I do want to say this: if my audio is if something's going on with my audio, just let me know in the comment section, and I will fix it as we go. But yes, you guys already know why we're here. Blueface is under fire. Now, Blueface, if you guys are not aware, Blueface is a rapper. He is well known for his hit single Tatiana, and he's also well known for being the type of rapper that kind of raps, but he raps off beat. When it comes to catching the beat, that bad boy is not going to catch that bad boy at all. Okay, when I tell you guys, hey, what's going on, y'all? Now, but also with Blueface, he's also he has a couple of reality TV shows. I would consider him a TV personality in a sense. He was actually on Zeus Network, associated with Zeus Network, and also he's also connected to Krishan Rock, who is a TV personality as well. She's also been on Zeus Network as well, and she also does music, I believe. Now, another person that you need to understand and know in this situation, you need to know about Jaden Alexis. Now, Jaden Alexis is the baby mother of Blueface's baby mother, but I believe their child is the child that's actually being interrogated and questioned about his sexual orientation by Blueface. Now, the child's name I want to say is Javon. So let's get straight into it. So basically what's happening, there is a video circulating of Blueface. He's inside of his home, and while he's inside of his home, he has some exotic dancers, aka strippers. They're in the living room, they're dancing, they're quote unquote having a good time, putting a performance, but he sees his son. Now, his son is off to the side inside of the pantry. I'm kind of like the kitchen area inside the pantry going to get a snack. Now, while he's out there going to get a snack, Blueface decides, now keep in mind, y'all, all of this is on camera. Blueface decides to go to his son, approach his son and say, hey, there's some booty cheeks out here. You know, why aren't you out here, in a sense? And basically asks his son 2 times, are you gay? Are you gay? Now, some may argue, because I've already seen it, some may argue and actually say out their mouths, say something along the lines of, he was joking, he was joking, the people are taking stuff too serious, that, you know, yada, yada, yada. Now, after that whole situation had taken, you know, whatever, it transpired. You know, later on, you see another video where you see Blueface sit all 4 of the children that were present in the inside of the home. You see him sit all of them down on the couch, and while they're on the couch, he basically says that essentially the oldest child is in charge, the second oldest is second in command, and you know, you guys babysit yourselves while he go and have fun with these women. Girl, so after those videos basically hit the airwaves, it ended up coming into the frequency of the algorithm of the general public. They end up getting wind of it. After they end up getting wind of it, he received backlash. Now, when the backlash happened, the mammies decide to do what they always do. They always come to the forefront. They're always on the front lines, windmilling for these niggas. So with that being said, when the backlash happened, you had Jaden and you had Clarissa, aka the baby mama, and aka his mama. So you got the baby mama and you got Blueface's mother on the front lines trying to defend and respond to the video and trying to explain what happened from their perspective, quote unquote. Now, before we get into all of that, before I even continue, girl, my mouth is dry. Hey, what's going on? How you doing today? Hey, I know it's been a little minute. I got some stories to tell y'all. Got some experiences, baby. What's going on? Please make sure you guys thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Hey, what's going on, Arshawn? So yes, so let's get into some things. So let me see. Make sure you guys thumbs up. I'm gonna read some of the responses that Blueface's mother decided to actually, you know, she was on social media, she was letting it rip. So this is what Blueface's mom had to say about the situation. Now, one thing she had to say was this. She said, "No, ma'am, I don't have a problem with him asking him that question." Now, when she says him, she's talking about Blueface asking the son, the 6-year-old son, the question about is he gay? Asking him that question because if he had said yes, y'all would have congratulated him for being gay and out. We can ask and congratulate for our preference also. Now, them freaks in the back is another story. Now, them freaks in the back, she's referring to the exotic dancers that were actually dancing in front of one of the minors in the house. Now, that's one thing she had to say. Now, she also said this. She said, I asked, and he's actually, before I even continue, let me just say this, because I want you guys to pay attention, because for me, I always pay attention to wording, and I also pay attention to the way that people say things, and I also peep the microaggressions, and I also peep the micro queer phobia. Because what she said was this: "No, ma'am, I don't have a problem with him asking him that question because if he had said yes," which is referring to the son, if the son has said yes, y'all would have congratulated him. Now, peep what she said. She said y'all would have congratulated him. She never would have said anything along the lines of we would have accepted him. We would have congratulated. We would have had felt no type of way. She never said any of those things. So in the back of my head, in the back of my skull, it already let me know how their thought process in terms of the way they view men, and they also view children in terms of heterosexuality, homosexuality, etc., etc., etc. Because I also think it's very funny too is that in different conversations, people love to say children don't know anything about sexual orientation. Okay, so if that's the case, then why are we even having this conversation? But I beg to differ. But it's all right. We're going to continue. Now, she continued. She said, I asked, and he said it was okay. When you and the at name has been quote unquote has been blocked out, was twerking in front of him when he was a kid. Boy, don't do what I did, do what I say do. Now here's the thing. Now, when it comes down to that situation of what she's referring to when she was a mother, which she kind of still is, when she was younger and she was, had Blueface in her home and they were growing up. She had him exposed to women, grown women, shaking their behinds, dancing, etc., and basically be exposed to what some may say very sexual content in a sense, in so many words. But she's saying, so basically what ended up happening is that she confronted him about the video going viral, about the video, about the backlash, etc., and he basically made a rebuttal that you had no issue when you did it, so why all of a sudden, why is the issue when I do it? Girl, get into it. So as a result of all of those things, of her actually going online and responding, people were actually DMing her in the process. Now, one of the replies says, "This is child, let us pray." She responded with, "Our Father, which art in heaven, please let them hurry up and turn 30. Amen." Now, it also says this. Another person responded with this and DM'd her. Well, replied to her story. It says, "What if he said yes? That baby would have been so ashamed," shaking my head. And she responded with, and when I say she, the mother responded with, "No, we would have patiently trained him in the way he should go." So here's the thing. The thing that gets me is that cishet people really believe that you can train someone to be heterosexual. And that narrative is completely false. You cannot train someone to be heterosexual. And the reason why I'm saying that is because DL culture is a direct receipt that It doesn't matter what society says. It doesn't matter what your parents say. It doesn't matter what religion tells people or what it actually says. People's sexual orientation is going to be people's sexual orientation. Now, sexual orientation may be on a spectrum, but however, you cannot change your sexual orientation. Because the thing about it, if that was the case, there would be, and I would say this, there would be no queer people at all. No bisexual people would exist. No queer people would exist. Because we also know that religion played a really huge part in melanated communities. And we also know Christianity was the #1 religion here in America that everybody abided by. At least if they didn't follow every single rule, or quote unquote, if they did follow, they was very hypocritical. But that was the guide for people. So this idea that you can train somebody to be quote unquote the way that he should go, first and foremost, this is what I mean, and this is what I mean when I say that this is the uppity attitude that some heterosexual people have in terms of believing just because they are the majority, or believing that they always having the representation of being for a long time the only sexual orientation that was being accepted, that's the way that it should go. Just so you are aware, yes, heterosexuality may be the majority, but it's not the only. It's just just because majority of people in this world are heterosexual, that does not mean that's the way that they should go. It doesn't mean that. But I'm gonna continue. And so the person responded, says, I guess, LOL. He was hungry. That's what he should have asked eating. Slim Jims, I'm team you, but right is right and wrong is wrong. And so the mother said, Javon always hungry. He took that after my side. Laughing emojis. Girl, she is just toxic. And the thing about it is, just because you are able to procreate, just because you're able to have a baby, don't mean that some of y'all should have babies. That doesn't mean that some of y'all should become parents, honestly. And that's just an honest observation. Just because you are able to carry a baby inside of your womb, that does not mean you should be carrying a child, or having a child, raising that child. But let's get into it. Another person said this in reply to her story. It says, no one there anymore. Now, it also says this: kids were never in the room with the girls. And so the mother responded and says, I know you know that, but Sister Tracy at my church starting to turn her nose up at me. So here's the thing. And then someone came in and basically, another reply from, Instagram, basically let it be known, explain the situation, saying that they have nannies, people were there, the children never saw it, yada, yada, yada. But here's the thing, because I think a lot of times people try to act like we're like boo-boo the fool, but the thing about it is that one thing about social media, yes, the thought processes and the way that social media may think about certain complex situation is that, yes, a lot of times they may jump the gun on situations, and they may go to the easiest non-critical thinking result. They may go to that conclusion. But however, in this case, you can literally see within the video, you can see one of the children being present in the room while one of the exotic dancers was performing. And so I just think it's very interesting that, because I've also seen this. I've also seen other content creators speak on this very issue. And I've also seen some content creators not speak on this very issue. And I think it's very interesting because my thing is this: where's the outrage? Where is the outrage? Where's the outrage? Because the thing about it is that if these were queer people doing something even close, what's going on, y'all? What's going on, Neo? If doing anything close to what Blueface was doing, there would be an outrage. There would be an outrage in the manosphere. There would be outrage in the quote unquote, girl, I'm using this term loosely, girl, even though they call themselves this, there would be outrage in quote unquote the conscious community. There'll be outrage in the Black conscious community. There'll be outrage in the feminists, in the feminist community. There'll be outrage everywhere. And also there'll be outrage, in the queer community. So with all of that being said, where is the outrage? And I don't mean the outrage from queer people, and I don't mean the outrage from Black women. Where's the outrage? Because I've also seen other content creators speak on this issue, but also in the same breath downplay the situation. Oh, oh girl, it was one content creator I literally just got done seeing, and the one of the things that he said in the video is that when has it ever, he said that's how that is how fathers play with their sons. He said when has it ever become a thing to where a dad doesn't believe or doesn't believe it's out of pocket for their child to become GAY. And the thing about it is this crazy is because he really tried to downplay the whole situation, because the thing about it is he continued and he said this. Now, by the way, y'all, I'm paraphrasing, but I'm pretty accurate on my understanding. Later on, he said this. He said, in terms of the situation with the strippers being present in the children seeing stuff, he said, I've never would have done it, but to each his own. And this what gets me is because when it comes down to anybody else in the community doing something like that, there would be no to each his own. There would be a clear stance of how everybody feels. That's messed up. You are sick. That is a child. Why would you do that? That people will be very clear and very strong in their posture on how they feel about the situation. But when it comes down to certain content creators, I've seen them literally try to moonwalk out of really holding quote unquote Blueface accountable for the stuff for this situation. Now keep in mind, y'all, the reason why I'm over here stuttering because I'm trying to be careful with my words. Because girl, some words I want to say, and girl, it's my first time back. Okay. And so this is also another reason why us as queer people don't take cishet people when they talk about the children and protecting the children and what do children know about your sexual orientation and all these different things. They got to get it. Because here's the thing. These are the examples and these are the instances when it's time for people to really speak out. They don't. And when they do speak out, they downplay it. The children. But yet, you literally have this man over here exposing his children to what some may say sexual content. And then not only that, you also have this man and woman, because I want to make sure I add her in there too, because even though he's the face, I want to make sure I add her in there too. You have these parents. Not only that, you can tell that the mother was under the influence. But not only that, you also have these parents allowing the oldest child to babies, who's, I have to say, probably was like 13-ish. And that's me taking a guess at it, a swing at it. Having the oldest child babysit three other children. And two of them, one was a toddler, the other one would look like an infant. So if that had been a black woman doing that, people would have went ham, called her a bad mama, all of those things would have went 10 toes down. If there was a queer person doing any of those things, y'all would have been on the front line saying the gay agenda and we need to fight against it and yada, yada, yada. Y'all would have let us have it. But now when it's time for y'all to speak up in these type of situations, you do not want to do that. You do not want to do that. And this is the reason why we don't take y'all serious at all. Now, it's also the microqueerphobia that was very much present throughout this whole situation. The microqueerphobia is this. The microqueerphobia is the fact that you asked your son, oh, you're not gay, right? You're not gay. You're not gay. What you're actually doing, whether Blueface realizes this or not, is that you are indirectly implementing fear and shame into being anything else but heterosexual. Now, your son can be heterosexual. Your son can be whatever. That's cool, whatever. I'm personally not concerned with that. Personally. But what ends up happening is that when you end up shaming people indirectly, especially with men, because we live under a toxic patriarchal system. Yes, it is quote unquote patriarchy, but however, patriarchy also does affect men. Men typically are more affected on the emotional range because a lot of the times, most of the time, I want to say damn near all the time, they do not have an outlet to express their emotions. They don't have an outlet to express the internal. There's no outlet for that. So now when you're putting shame, indirectly implementing shame as a tactic to your children, especially your son, all he's going to do is internalize that. And let's just say your son grows up and he is heterosexual. And let's just say he is, whatever, he's heterosexual. Then what ends up happening? You've already conditioned, especially with the grandmama already saying what she's saying and saying things along the lines of, when it comes down to the child, if he was gay, all we were going to do was train him in the way that he should go. So that lines, I'm pretty sure if she believes that, then Blueface has to believe that. For the most part, it's more than likely that's what he believes. And so now you implemented shame as a tactic, and to your son who lives under a toxic patriarchal system that does not give him an outlet to be able to express how he feels, his emotions, his the way that he may grow up, and the way his concerns about certain things, being able to voice those things. So he internalizes those things, internalizes that hate, and let's just say he does grow up to be heterosexual. Guess what ends up happening? Your heterosexual son, who already has been used, that has already become a victim of the tactics of shame in terms of sexual orientation. Now he's inside of a class with other queer children, and so he takes it upon himself to disrespect other people who are not like him, and that's what ends up happening. We talk about and we shame and we're so disgusted by DL culture, but yet on the daily we produce them. We talk down on DL men. We disrespect people who are quote unquote part of the DL culture. But yeah, we do not create a safe space or have healthy practices surrounding sexual orientation to where DL culture can eventually not really be a thing, because people authentically would not care. Because people think that queer phobia only affects queer people. No, that is not the case. it also affects cishet people as well. Because I also think it's very interesting because people love to say this: children don't know anything about sexual orientation. I think that's I think that's a slap in the face to my intelligence, because every single time I think about my experiences growing up, I think it's very interesting that even though I was a child and I knew I was quote unquote, I knew I was different, gay, queer, whatever. But the thing about it, I think is very interesting, is that other children knew that as well. Other heterosexual children knew that as well. And other heterosexual children knew what to call me in terms of, in a way to disrespect me. They knew to call me the F word. They knew to call me lady boy. They knew to call me all different types of derogatory terms to be able to disrespect me. But yet in different conversations surrounding sexual orientation, all of a sudden children don't know anything about sexuality. But my thing is, then where are they learning these terms from? And why do they know, and how do they know when to use these terms? They're learning these terms from somewhere. They're learning this hate from somewhere. So this idea that children don't know anything about sexual orientation, okay, cool, let's go with it. But let's be fair across the board. Because the thing about it, okay, cool, they don't know anything about sexual orientation. Let it flow naturally. But then when it comes to situations like this, where that sexual orientation is not flowing naturally, and that person, that teenager, that child is not growing up and actually coming into their manhood, coming to their womanhood naturally, and also going through these stages of puberty and being able to deal with their hormones, and then they find out about, attractions, etc. People don't want to speak out. They don't want to speak out. And it's also the passing down of trauma for me. And the reason, what's going on, IG? Hey, what's going on? It's also the passing down of trauma for me, because the same raggedy ass mama literally got on a platform and basically let it be known, because I didn't know this. basically let it be known that when it comes down to her confronting her son about the situation of the video and the exotic dancers, stripping, and the children being present, yada, yada, yada. And her son, Blueface, responded with, weren't you dancing? And you and your friends were dancing, and I was present, and I saw all those things. So what seems to be the problem? So now you're seeing the trickle down effect. Now you got an ain't shit ass mama sitting there passing down horrific ass shit, horrible ass trauma. For one, I already knew she wasn't shit. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I wasn't planning on cussing, but it is what it is. I already knew she wasn't shit when she basically said that she seen her, the way that she was talking about her son's private area. Who does that? What type of mother goes on social media to speak on their son's private area? That's very inappropriate. So once I knew about that situation, I didn't expect any type of common sense, any type of rationale, reason to come from this lady's mouth. And to also think about the misogynistic, queer-phobic son that she has, aka Blueface. Oh, I just knew nothing rational was going to come out of his mouth either. Just to be completely honest with you. I just knew nothing rationale was going to come out of his mouth as well. And I'm sorry, I have to keep going back to this, because this is the legit question. Where's the outrage? Where is the outrage? Where's the outrage from the black men? I'm sorry, I was trying to be passive aggressive about it, but where's the outrage? Where's the outrage? No jumper. I've seen the video where they talked about this situation and they downplayed it. Where's the outrage? Because the thing about it is that no jumper, y'all need to talk about all different types of things, the gay agenda and the women and this and that and blah 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 blah. But then when this situation comes and you guys talk about it, you downplayed it. You did. You downplayed it. You downplayed it. And this is what I mean when I say that I don't take these serious, because when it's time for y'all to stand up and quote unquote be the leaders and speak out, y'all don't. Where's the outrage? Not from queer people and not from black women. Where's the outrage? So let me read some of y'all comments, because I have not been really looking at it. I've been like glancing at the chat, but let me read some of y'all comments. Indigenous Afro Latina says they too busy hating on OnlyFans. Yeah, you already know it. Hey Jeff, how you doing? What's going on? All right, let me see. Okay, Indigenous says, but yet it's trans that they say want to groom kids. And okay, so this is another thing I want to say as well. This is the reason why, if you actually pay attention, every single thing that the dominant society, the dominant class, aka cishet people, literally accuse queer people of doing, historically they have done it. The gay agenda. Last time I checked, cishet people had an agenda to make sure everybody was heterosexual. They're trying to influence everybody to be heterosexual, to be gay. But last time I checked, queer people are not the ones who had damn near concentration camps for children to go to and be converted to heterosexuality, to be converted to homosexuality. That was heterosexual people that did that. Last time I checked, queer people are not the ones having religions demonize heterosexuality. It's heterosexual people that's doing that. Last time I checked, queer people are not sitting up here coming up with Bill Nye the Science Guy, Freaky Friday, science experiment hypothesis to why heterosexuality even exists. That's heterosexual people doing that. Last time I checked, queer people are not the ones actually keeping heterosexual people from adopting children that have been slam dunked into the foster care system. It's heterosexual people that are doing that. Last time I checked, queer people are not the ones trying to keep heterosexual people off of TV, off of media, outside of the music industry. They're not the ones gatekeeping areas to keep heterosexual people out and trying to dominate within society. It's heterosexual people that's actually doing that. So that's why it's like a reverse psychology slap in the face, because everything they have accused queer people of doing, historically, they have done it. Historically, they have done it. No shade. Oh, thank you. Hey, Bless. Thank you. Thank you. Let me see. Let me look at some of the comments. Where's the mother of the baby? I would turn Blueface into a child protect. Actually, Nosy Ho on her live, she called CPS. And a lot of people were calling CPS. And I 100% agree with that message. They called CPS. Because that was the thing too. They literally, after the fact, the mother, and I believe also the baby mother said this as well. They basically said that there was a nanny present, and with the nanny being present, when the child actually went outside or whatever, apparently one story I heard is that the child eyes were covered when the child was going on his way to the pantry. That's one thing I've heard. But I'm going to tell you the reason why I don't believe that all the way is because of this. If there was a nanny that was present, if there was somebody to look after the children, then why is there a video present, created, manifested on Beyonce's internet that actually shows Blueface sitting all four of the children down and saying these magic words? You guys sit right here while I go fondle with these women over here. The big child is in charge Javon, who was the second oldest, he's second, he's second in command. That's what Blueface said. So if there was a nanny, then why are you putting the children in charge of watching after themselves? And the thing about it, if there was a nanny present, why is the son, Javon, downstairs or in the kitchen? Because I don't know if they have upstairs or downstairs. Why is the son even walking in that direction to go get a snack? Why didn't the nanny go get the snack? If everybody in there is aware of what's going on in that room. What's going on in that room? But we all know that it's for me, it's don't play with my intelligence. It's one thing if it's little little pieces missing out of the story, but it's the whole thing of you're lying. You're lying and you're lying. It's one thing if you can lie and get away with it and really make it really good, but it's another thing when you lie and it's a bad lie. And the thing about it, you already have evidence, video evidence that completely contradicts what you said. At least if you're going to come up with the lie, at least look at all the videos and think things through. Think the lie through. Say, brainstorm. Oh, I'm going to say this. And then someone be like, yo, you can't say that because you got the video of you playing da-da-da-da-da. Someone going to say, where's the nanny? Why did the nanny do this? Why did the nanny do that? At least brainstorm of a good lie to tell to the general public. At least. But then again, I'm also talking about people who are not emotionally intelligent, actually very stoic, who are deaf to what they actually say, who can't contextualize the social dynamic of them actually becoming parents and being grandparents. And what I mean by that is this: knowing that you are a parent and knowing that you have a really big responsibility, and that responsibility is to love on your child and teach your child. Now, the problem with that is that a lot of y'all indirectly teach your child BS and then wonder why they get older, aka Blueface ass, and wonder why he beats on women. Because for one, you're always coming to his defense even when he's wrong. That's mammy behavior. And then you wonder why he disrespects women, because everybody makes a pass for it. Especially now he has money, everybody makes a pass for it. And wonder why he's misogynistic. And then all that's going to do is all he's going to plan on doing is passing that down to his son. Passing that same tactics, the same feelings, the same ideologies, the same thought processes that he has, he plans on passing it down to his son. And same thing for that mama. Because that's mammy behavior as well. You're in a whole relationship with this man, and you are beefing with Krishan Rock, somebody that he keeps going back and forth with. One day he with you, next day he with her, 3 months he with you, 4 months he with her, and he really playing both of y'all. And the thing that gets me too, now I'm going to tell like a bit of a story. Now, this live is not going to be longer than an hour, I can tell you that much. But what gets me too is that I was having a conversation with somebody, and we always have these conversations dealing with, men and women dynamics, people's thought process, perspective on relationships and the way that society is going, etc. And typically, in this specific space that I'm referring to, I'm not going to disclose what I'm talking about, like the location. This specific location that I'm referring to, typically in these discussions, aka debates, aka group therapy sessions, etc., it's typically me versus 40 other people. I'm exaggerating, but it's typically me versus 10, 11, 12 people. Because a lot of times when we have these conversations, it's the lack of context, lack of nuance, and it's very surface level. It's very scratching the surface. And then people wonder why we can't move forward in changing the dynamic in the way that men, women, women, trans men, trans women, etc., pansexual people, bisexual, etc., the way that everybody operates and actually behave in relationships. And you already know it. And you already know it. And to be completely honest too, I just don't like it. And I know a lot of times when I get to these different conversations, one of the things that people always, you always on the men, you always on the men. Don't get me wrong, I get on the women too. But I'm going to tell you what, because it's another thing as well, what I'm about to say is present in this situation. The reason why I typically always go on the men is because they always do this performative BS. It's this performativity that's always present. It's this, when behind closed doors, we're going to have a certain conversation. It's going to be raw. It's going to be uncut. We're going to cuss. We're going to say how we truly feel, unfiltered. We're going, it's all laid out on the table. But then yet, when we have the exact same conversation, but yet we have certain people that may be present this time that wasn't present for behind the scenes conversation. Now all of a sudden we're trying to dress it up and we're trying to change it up and we're trying to put this conversation that we've been having, and we're trying to dress it up and put it as a pretty display to the point that it's basically you're lying. And it's very performative. And that's what's going on in this present moment, because every single time I've seen certain content creators talk about this situation, they downplay it. But let a black mama do that and had done something like that, y'all be calling her all types of bad mamas. Y'all be saying she ain't ish. Let queer people have done that, the witch hunt, prosecution, crucifixion would have been present and pending if that would have happened. But now it's crickets, or when they do talk about it, it's scratching the surface and you're not going in. That's just crazy to me. But back to what I was talking about. Whenever I have these conversations and I'll be 10 toes down, have these conversations, I'll be going in, What gets me is that we literally pass down these trauma-filled, self-destructive talking points, thought processes, ideas down to other people, aka other children. And I'm not gonna lie, I think one of the issues that we have as a society, I'm gonna say parents, I'm gonna be more direct, parents have as a society, is that they want their child to be just like them. And I know for the surface level, you're like, oh, that's not a bad thing to do. But when I become a parent, I don't want my child to be just like me. I want my child to become them. As long as they're not hurting nobody or hurting themselves, I want my child to become like them. And even if that means they're the totally opposite from me, as long as they're not hurting anybody, disrespecting anybody, hurting themselves, then I'm okay with that. I'm cool with that. But I've seen a lot of parents that I want my child to be just like me. And the reason why I bring it up is because that's the reason why that rhetoric, the other saying. Ooh, make sure. Hold up. Hold up. Want to make them good. Casting me on glitching. Let me see. Hold up. You guys, let me make sure now. Oh. Hold up, y'all. 2.5 seconds. Okay. I'm just gonna end this bad boy so I just don't get in because my audio over here messing up. So I'm just gonna end this. But yeah, that's really all I wanted to say. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. I will be dropping more content.
I'm just gonna end.
But that's really all I wanted to say. Y'all make sure y'all stay safe. I'll see you guys later. That's because that right there is letting me know that's my cue to leave. Alrighty. But I wanted to make sure I talk about this because I feel like it's very important. But that is it I wanted to talk about for my video for today, guys. I will see you guys later. Deuces.
I'm just gonna end.